All right, today we're going to take a look at a really interesting trading view tool. It's called the MTF VWAP Resonance Hunter. Now, what this thing does is pretty cool. It's designed to pull back the curtain and show you exactly where the institutional, the smart money, is putting their cash on the line. So let's dive in. But first, let me ask you something. Does your chart ever just look like a total mess? Lines everywhere, signals that are constantly fighting each other. You've got an indicator that seems like a genius one minute, and then it completely fails you the next. It's super frustrating, right? And a lot of the time, that's because we're using tools that just don't see the market the way the big players do.
And that right there is the core issue we're trying to solve. See, a lot of the standard indicators we use can be pretty misleading. Why? Because they're often measuring the wrong thing. They're measuring noise. Let's break down exactly what that means.
Okay, so look at this. On the left, you've got noise. Most traditional indicators, they're fantastic at measuring this stuff, just the random, choppy ups and downs of price. But really, that's all it is. It's just noise. Now, look over on the right. That's value. VWAP measures something completely different. It's tracking the true cost basis. It shows you the average price where real volume, real money, was actually exchanged. And that reveals the exact levels that institutions are probably going to defend. And this is why the pros, the professional traders and all those sophisticated algorithms, they don't just stare at the price. They anchor their decisions to VWAP. It's like their North Star, their benchmark for what's a fair price across all kinds of different time frames. If you want to understand how they behave, you got to understand VWAP. So what is VWAP, really? Well, it stands for Volume Weighted Average Price. But please don't just think of it as another moving average. It's way more than that. Think of it as the market's financial center of gravity. It's that equilibrium point, that sweet spot where the most money has actually changed hands during a certain period, whether that's for the day, the week, or even the whole quarter. And this is what makes it so incredibly powerful. The source material for this indicator uses this great phrase, 真金白银的持仓成本, and that translates beautifully to something like the cost basis of real gold and silver. I love that. It tells you this isn't about some random price spike that disappears in a second. No, this is about where significant, real capital has been put to work. So when the price comes back to a VWAP level, it's not just hitting a line on a chart. It's testing the commitment of that real money. Okay, but here's where this indicator starts to get really smart, because it knows that just relying on a single VWAP line, well, that's not going to cut it. The real magic, the real power, happens when you find a consensus across multiple time frames at once. I mean, let's be real for a second. A single VWAP line, say from the daily chart, it can get tested and broken just like any other support or resistance level. Sure, maybe the day traders are trying to defend it, but what are the big weekly or quarterly funds doing? If you don't know that, you're basically trading with a huge blind spot. So check this out. This is what happens when everything aligns perfectly. Imagine the price drops and hits the daily VWAP. Okay, interesting. But what if at that exact same price, the weekly upper band is also converging? And then, to top it all off, the quarterly VWAP is sitting right there too. Boom. This overlap, this confluence of different timeframes, creates what the indicator calls a resonance box. And that is the core idea of what's called value consensus. It's that rare moment when the short-term day traders, the medium-term swing traders, and the big, long-term institutional funds, they're all looking at the exact same price level and essentially nodding in agreement saying, yep, this level matters. That's an incredibly powerful signal because it shows a shared belief across the entire market. And the cool thing is, the indicator makes this super easy to spot. It has this built-in resonance radar that's constantly scanning for these overlaps for you. If 2 lines overlap, you get 1 lightning bolt. That's a hey, pay attention signal. 3 lines overlap, you get 2 lightning bolts. Now we're talking strong support or resistance. But when you see 4 or more lines all piling up in the same spot, that's 3 lightning bolts. That's what it calls an iron wall, and that's a level the market is very, very likely to respect. Okay, so that's all the theory behind it. Now let's get to the fun part and see how this actually looks and works as a practical tool on your charts. The person who made this clearly gets that sometimes less is more. You've got full mode, which shows you everything, all the lines, the dashboard, the boxes, which is great when you're doing deep analysis. But then you have focus mode, which gets rid of all the messy VWAP lines and just leaves you with the dashboard and those crucial resonance boxes. And then my personal favorite is Zen Mode. It hides everything except the boxes. Pure, clean price action. It just completely declutters your chart so you can focus in like a sniper on those key zones. And honestly, this part is a total game changer. The little dashboard on your screen doesn't just show you that there's a box there. It tells you exactly what's creating that box. So if you see a label that says something like QVWAP plus W lower, you instantly know what's happening. You know that the big quarterly players are defending their average cost basis, and at the same time, the weekly chart is hitting an oversold level. It's not just a level anymore. You actually understand the story behind it. So when you put all of this together, it creates a really clear, actionable strategy. It's all about stopping the guesswork and moving towards precision targeting. It's about, well, trading like a sniper. And the strategy itself is beautifully simple. Step 1 is to identify the wall. Just look for those high-rated 2 or 3 lightning bolt boxes, the red ones for resistance or the green ones for support. Step 2, read the dashboard. Check to see which key levels are actually forming that wall so you understand its strength. And finally, step 3, the sniper entry. This is key. You don't chase the price. You wait patiently for the price to come to you, to touch that high probability resonance box. So if there's one big takeaway here, it's this. A tool like this completely shifts your perspective. You stop just hunting for random lines on a chart, and you start understanding the story behind the price, the whole dynamic of who's in control at these critical points of market agreement. And that really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. When you look at your own trading, are your decisions based on guesswork and the random noise of price just bouncing around? Or are you tapping into something much more powerful, the signal of true market-wide value consensus? Because honestly, the answer to that question could make all the difference.